TPN at technophilespodcast.com. I'm David Geisler, and this is the Technophiles Podcast. All right, everybody. Welcome to part 3 of episode 289. We just got done talking a little bit about the Apple and FBI in part 1. Part 2, we got to chat all about Scott Kelley coming back to Earth. Joining us again. And here we are in part 3. We're back from the break. And Jake, we both accidentally submitted the Google car got in a car crash story today.
Yep.
So let's just hit it. Do you want to set it up?
I'm always looking for new reasons to blame Google. You know what I mean? They just run so much of my life.
Why don't we tell people what happened?
Well, they got in a little accident with a bus in California.
I'd say a fender-bender, but it happened.
Fender-bender.
This is the most. One could say that this is the first time that the Google car Well, actually, now that I think about it, I think it's debatable. Why don't we set it up? Why don't you set it up?
Yeah, so it actually happened a little while ago. I think it was on the 14th of February. A little Valentine's Day surprise, you know. Google
just couples galore on that bus.
Yep. No, the Google car got into an accident, so they were trying to make a right-hand turn. And I think, according to their report that they filed, so my info is coming from Washington Post and a few articles that were written on there. So they were trying to make a right-hand turn. There was something in the road, and it was kind of blocking the road. And so the Google car was like, well, I'm just going to go around. Thought the path was clear. Turns out there was a bus there that didn't want to yield, and they hit each other.
Yep. Wait, hold on. Did you say making a right-hand turn?
Yeah, but they had to so there was stuff in the right lane, so they couldn't actually physically go straight and make the turn.
Oh, so they were
going... the Google car had to move around the debris. Okay. And in doing so,
imagine a construction zone for one lane or something. It wasn't that specifically, but you can imagine it.
No. The reason I was asking for clarification is because in my head, when you first said it, I'm like, was it trying to turn right in front of a bus?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nope,
and it was
wasn't.
not.
Okay.
It was not.
All right.
Turned right, and a bus was.
Gotcha.
Well, no. Wait a second.
The bus was
coming from the left.
Yeah, it hit him on the. So the great for podcasts, but
yeah,
right.
The Google car was in the right lane. The bus was in the middle lane, or a lane left of that car. And then when the car tried to move, rather than the bus yielding, the Google car ran into him. So actually, it was a very low impact collision. No one died. Nothing like that.
I think specifically the bus was going 12 miles an hour and the car was going 2 miles an hour.
15 miles an hour ish, and Google was 2.
Sure.
The Google car was 2. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. So it is the first time, I think, actually, that the Google cars are actually responsible.
Right.
And like you said before, are they responsible? It's hard to say. But that's actually kind of remarkable considering that Google has done 1.4 million miles worth of travel in 53 cars. And there's 17 accidents, but Google actually has not been at fault for any of them.
That's bonkers.
Until now.
Oh.
And even so, let's talk a little bit about what happened, because you were mentioning in the pre-show, too, how right now there's still people that have to be in those cars while they're testing them out.
Yep.
Let's talk about that.
So there's people that go in the cars, and they're actually they're supposed to be there to prevent in the event of something going wrong. They can
grab the
use
wheel.
the human mind and make a decision.
Yep.
And so actually there were people in the car, and in the past this has happened, I think, I want to say 13 times, where the human person had to intervene and be like, we're going to stop something bad from happening. So in this one, actually, the human didn't stop anything bad from happening because they thought the bus would yield.
Yeah,
they thought the bus would slow down.
In other words, even the human in the car read this situation exactly the same.
Yeah. So the outcome one would argue, could be the same, where actually the human would have got in the accident too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, after this, I mean, so some things came out and Google kind of released their statement and they had to, file a thing with the DMV and all this kind of stuff, which it seems like a lot of stuff considering people get in car accidents all the time and I don't think you go to the DMV. Yeah. Whatever. Probably don't have as good of a track record as Google either. But anyways, so what they kind of said after, though, is really interesting. I think they're like, well, yeah, now we just have to adjust our algorithm. It turns out that big things, they may not slow down as quickly, but also something like a bus might not respond in the same way that they would think a normal passenger vehicle is.
Yeah, they have different
the way the
priorities.
driver of the bus, he has different sight lines, stuff like that.
Although, yeah, I think someone in the comments was kind of commenting. They're like, "Well, yeah, it's California. Have you seen the thing that these bus drivers do? They're not yielding for anyone.
Could
you know
be.
what I mean? So maybe they need that special. They need to add the California-like driver spice.
Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
a patch.
In there,
So just
yeah,
patch
yeah,
it in there.
yeah.
Well, wait, what are they going to
Your
do
location
then?
patch, like how the bus drivers are in your neighborhood.
So I've driven in California before, and so I can understand that. However, I think they'll need a much bigger patch for the Flatlanders just to the south of us in Illinois.
Oh my god.
I mean, have you driven in Chicago?
Holy smokes.
No, once
do
across
that.
the border, they just kick the speed up relative to, it's just like, oh, the speed limit's 55, go 80.
We joked about this on previous episodes. When you go to Illinois, we're not making fun of this. You basically just add 20 miles per hour to whatever the sign says.
Pretty much.
For some reason.
Yes,
almost
I
instantly
guess
as you
I'm
cross
just.
the
So the
line.
last time I drove in Chicago, I was on one of the 4-lane highways, and somebody in the far left, within seconds, crossed all 4 lanes. I had to slam on the brakes in order to get off the ramp that was
and
right
I think that, like, Google needs to be able to, like, if I'm going to get in a car, that's the video I want to see. It's like the freaked out Google automated driver that's like, oh, I need to do 4 lanes. Let's do it. Like, if they can navigate
On
that, I'll
lakefront.
get in. That's
Right.
right. I'm good.
Lord.
Now, theoretically,
The ultimate
and
test.
if I may, I agree with you completely. But if I may, like, theoretically, the Google car will never have to do that because it'll be so good it would never put itself in that position.
Yes.
But there would be, there could be moments, 1% of the time. But I see exactly where you're going with this, Jake. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think that's the kind of the interesting thing about this entire discussion, and maybe probably why it's interesting, is that, like, human beings as drivers are super unpredictable, and that's what Google's dealing with.
And even all the previous crashes were from the other cars, human error or whatever.
Yep.
And I don't know, I feel like this one, maybe technically the Google car did the head-on collision. To the front of the Google car hit the bus, so it's the Google car's fault. But I don't know if this is much different than some of these previous accidents, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
At least it's still very minor.
I'm not trying to defend
Yeah, no,
it.
absolutely. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
minor, but it's really interesting. Like, you need more of the story. It's not like we can just blame the autonomous car, because
Yeah.
you're almost like, well,
It's not.
something in an
not-
algorithm already told it that this was probably a good thing to do, and that's why it did it.
And the human
so what
agreed.
went wrong?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where it
like,
gets really weird.
Yeah, the human's
Right.
also a little bit at fault for not intervening properly, I guess. I don't
The
know.
human
or
who was
making,
in the car,
also
essentially
made a
reading
bad
the situation
judgment.
from the same
Also was
perspective
like,
as the
Yeah.
algorithm.
The bus should yield, and the bus did not yield.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
I think that's a fair assumption.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they can just submit an update and
What do you think their insurance
fix
is
the
like
problems, right?
for a self-driving car?
All I know is that
Wow.
Google says that they take that responsibility. Oh, I don't know what the insurance is. No. I was thinking about like their driving record or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Sorry. No, I don't know.
But very seriously, right? One would presume. Google driving record.
Oh.
They want it to be amazing. And these
Oh
are
yeah.
perfect.
No, I'm so yeah. So we
They've-
mentioned this a while back in a few other episodes. Google said that they would be responsible. Literally, they would be responsible for the tickets if their tickets got cars, not the person who
Or their cars got
hypothetically
tickets.
bought. Am I saying this wrong? So let's,
yeah.
in a hypothetical, we buy a Google car and we keep it here at the studio
Yeah.
and we use it to drive around, 10 years from now or whatever.
Yeah.
That car gets in an accident, or it's speeding, or it does something and it gets pulled over, it gets a ticket for some reason. About a year ago, Google said, at least they said this a year ago, that they felt that they would be responsible for that ticket because it's their algorithm.
Yeah, because technically they're the drivers.
Basically, yeah, their software is the driver.
Yeah.
So they are willing to accept responsibility for all of those tickets.
Sure.
Now, would they accept responsibility for accidents?
I think on that logic, yes, and I think that's what's lining up here with this thing. They said, okay, well,
I mean, and right, I think that's probably why we're seeing it in the news today. I mean, granted, it happened a few weeks ago, but like the reason it's becoming news again now is because Google is kind of saying like, our bad,
Yeah.
and they're trying to figure it out.
They're owning up.
Yep, they
Yeah.
are.
The interesting thing here, I think, is because with the human unpredictability, which you mentioned, but then Google has also talked about, in the future, if everyone has the self-driving car, and it just occurs to me that it's probably going to be harder to do all this programming now
Absolutely.
than it's going to be
Absolutely.
later, because when everybody has the autonomous car, then you no longer have
Right.
as many
This
humans on the
gradient,
road.
this transition, this is the moment where it's going to be the most difficult for self-driving cars. It will only get easier.
Yep.
One, the algorithms are going to get better, but even if they didn't, just having more vehicles running that algorithm, they're going to agree with each other more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at like, so Milwaukee, right? We're in like a brew city. Have you guys ever been to like any of the brewery tours or anything? I mean, you just see these machines. They can do things insanely fast with insane accuracy because it's always going to do the same thing, right? So it's when the humans start tinkering.
Yeah.
Once it's, this
part.
is just a fun thought experiment, but it's obvious that once it's 100% autonomous, well, now the cars are driving 500 miles an hour and there aren't stoplights anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of that. Well, this is great. Any closing comments? Because we actually spent a fair amount of time chatting about this just now.
I don't know.
I think it was interesting.
I would still take a ride in a Google car.
Absolutely.
Oh, so
me too.
would I.
100%. Yeah.
In fact, Google should send a test car over to the studio.
Oh,
and we can
We'll
do
review
a
it.
podcast from inside the car since none of us would have to drive.
We'll do a live podcast and we'll be like, all right, still working.
Yeah.
Still driving pretty
Isn't
well.
that, I mean, that's like Tesla owners' responses after they pushed that update out.
The Autopilot and stuff?
Yeah, they were like, whoa, I'm freaking, oh, no, it's good.
Yep.
Oh,
and there's a video out there of the Tesla Autopilot. No, Tesla Autopilot is not self-driving. It's Autopilot. You still have to be conscious because there are times, like, we need to be clear about that.
Yep.
You cannot send your Tesla autonomously somewhere.
Yet.
But, yeah, right. Well, we know all that's in the math. For many cars, Mercedes-Benz is doing that. Google, everybody. But there's a quick video out there of a Tesla car going down kind of a highway, but it was like one of these middle highways where there's still kind of cross sections.
Oh,
So it's not
I
an
hate
interstate.
those.
It's on
Yeah.
the interstate.
Sure.
And a car, it was in a traffic jam, and the Tesla's going along, and it gets a pretty good straightaway, so it starts to pick up speed, and some jerk pulls absolutely right out in front of that thing, like 15 feet in front of it. Like it would have. Every part of watching this video tells me your human brain that's a crash. And the Tesla car stopped in time, and like nobody like freaked out. It was just like it found exactly the right algorithm. Went,
Wow.
and the other car went by, and like the Tesla car Autopilot basically saved the day with that crash. A human would have crashed in that moment.
Yeah, like definitively.
Was there audio? Was the human screaming?
I don't know. I'll see if I can find it again. I guess I'll tweet it. I'm starting to wonder if there's ways that we can I'm starting to wonder if there's ways we can kind of hashtag episodes in our tweets so that they reference. I'm not sure if we can just start throwing the maybe tiny URLs or something of each episode, because I'm going to tweet this out in a day or two or whatever,
Right.
but it's going to just be out there in the ether. Like, how do we know?
Let's talk about it after the show. It's a good
That's
idea.
true. That's true. That's a meeting.
Wait.
That's a meeting for another time.
So, guys, does this? I mean, if this is the future of automotion and all these different things, like, is that a word? Yeah.
It is now.
Automation? We'll go with it.
All right.
Ooh. Automotive.
The automotive industry, like moving forward, going to more self-driving things. Does that mean it's the end of Russian dashboard like crash cam videos?
Now it's just going to be Russian amazing save dashboard
Right. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
videos.
All right.
Yeah.
They're gonna run up and the car's
No,
gonna
because
stop.
eventually it
It's
won't
gonna back
be
up.
Russian crazy drivers on the other end of the thing.
Well,
so
maybe
it'll
their
just be
algorithms
normal.
will be just a little bit different, a little more risky.
Add in the little
Add it-
spice.
That's the flavor.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the flavor of the
Yeah.
algorithm.
I
Russian
actually.
driver.
You haven't seen these videos?
I'm thinking that you're talking about the things where people
They're
will
like dash
jump.
cams.
They'll jump up on hoods and try to collect insurance by cracking their heads into the steering wheel, into the
I
windshield.
mean, there's
Yes.
that,
Oh,
but there's
there's
just
that.
Oh,
like
that's not what you're
there's
talking
just
about?
like random great videos of dash. I think like because of what happens in Russia and just like weather and all these different
And
circumstances.
not just Russia. There's a lot of countries that a lot of people keep
Yeah,
dash cams.
they do it just to cover their butt. So like every year you get a great kind of like 2015
Yeah.
recap of
Crazy dash
you know,
cams.
they're like tanks flying up on the road and like it's just weird stuff. It's crazy.
It might be.
But
it
that
might
would
just be
probably
the end.
you'll probably still have, the other crazy stuff happening in front of the self-driving car. So I actually think we'll still have them.
Sure, I
right?
think so too.
The tank is still going to jump up there, or
Yeah.
there was
Yeah.
one
For the
it
next
was-
50 years, there's still going to be tanks jumping on roads.
All right,
Yeah.
great.
Well, yeah. There was another one I saw. It
Self-driving
wasn't a
tanks.
cow, but it was some other animal that we keep on farms or whatever that jumped in front of a car.
Yeah.
I
So
kid
giraffe.
you not. It was
Llama.
whatever, I don't remember.
that's fine.
And it might not have even been Russia, but it was on one of those
Sure.
types of sites where I
Sure.
saw it too, right? Just because there's a self-driving car does not mean the animals aren't going to jump out.
No,
so
that's
we
true.
will
That's true.
have
Well,
it.
Volvo already has the kangaroo detection. I did a newscast on that, and they have deer detection. What is so funny?
Sorry, just a kangaroo jumping in front of a car is like...
You saw that newscast that I did,
that's-
right?
Yeah.
I feel like every
It is a real thing. It's like
It is.
50,000 accidents in Australia are from kangaroos
It's
jumping in front of
ridiculous.
vehicles. And Volvo is testing a technology right now that even if you're still driving as a human, it has an auto brake which specifically finds out if it's a kangaroo or not. And it's like this whole cool algorithm they're doing. I've got a newscast on it. I'll slack it to you. Let's keep moving. I will make one final point. it's not a secret that Google's main intent right now, they probably have many ways that they want to express this self-driving car in the coming decade, but they're very open about the idea that they really want this first batch of real Google cars to be essentially like taxis, where they would implement 100 of them in a city and just let them kind of hive mind around and become taxis. That's really Google's first plan, not like
Seems like that's how they like to deploy a bunch of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. If there's going to be an Apple car, that might be more of like one of those. It's going to be more like a Tesla. It's going to be, or like the Tesla is going to go, okay, it's self-driving, but it's going to be a single experience. Google is definitely thinking about them being groups and hives and things like that, which lines up with the more autonomous cars we get, even the better it gets.
Right.
Right. Cool. Let's get out of here. This was a fun night. I enjoyed chatting about all this stuff with you guys. Let's see. Just to recap, if people are watching the video right now, Krista-Lee in part 1, we talked a little bit about the Apple.
You forgot about
Yes,
Apple
oh my
FBI.
God, the Apple versus FBI. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about kangaroos right now.
Yeah.
So
I will show you that
apologize.
newscast video if you haven't seen it. It was a lot of
No,
fun to
I
make.
did, but it's kangaroo. It's like the
big
vacuum
thing is,
pants.
well,
right?
apparently
It
Volvo,
doesn't
I know
matter.
we're trying to get out of here, but apparently Volvo already has like moose and deer protection. They have algorithms for that. The thing is, the kangaroos are smaller and they hop more erratically.
Right.
So they'll even hop from the point of view of the car. Sometimes they'll hop backwards and then back because maybe that's their their angle. They're like little velociraptors. I joked. You know what I mean? I'm serious. Anyway, okay. So let's see. And then in part 2, V, we talked all about
Got Kelley back to Earth.
If this is the first video you're watching, go check those out. But let's get out of here.
Yeah.
All right.
If people want to tweet to you about anything in the world,
It's
Vee Laabs.
Space Flowers. Tweet me at bear_Annika.
Excellent. Krista-Lee, people can find you on Twitter at
Please tweet me about kangaroos and vacuum pants, and you can find me at GamerAnthro.
Fantastic. Jake, people want to look you up, they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at Critical Owl and just send those dash cam videos.
That'd be good. I expect, we'll put a little Tumblr together of the best ones that people send to you.
There we go.
And we love it when people tweet the show at Technophiles Pod. People are always welcome to submit stories they want us to talk about through our Twitter account. That happens from time to time, and we love it when it does. Otherwise, you can find the actual show on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Facebook by searching Technophiles Podcast, or you're always welcome to go to our actual website, technophilespodcast.com, where you can check out some of the other shows that we make at TPN. I'll see you guys.
Sci-Fi Science.
Like Sci-Fi Science, the show that Krista-Lee hosts. And let's see here. Until next week, I think it's going to be just another normal week here in the studio. I'll see you guys then. Until then, you can tweet me on Twitter at Raptor Paints. Have a good week, everyone.
Yep.
Yeah.
You too.